everybody, welcome to the Friday at 6 talk show. We're broadcasting from the premises of Olswang, an awesome law firm here in Berlin, also with a tech department, and they're sponsoring this show. Very glad to be here again. And tonight we're having some awesome guests. And my first guest, and give him a big applause, is Philip Meuring of AngelList.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I think it took us 2 years to get together on the show.
2 years, but a long time, and so I have some decent questions prepared for you. Eva Misling is our next guest, our second guest. She founded 12 Designers, sold that to 99 Designs, and now she's leading the European department of 99 Designs. She's from Berlin. Give it up for Eva.
Thanks, happy to be here.
Yes. And our third and final guest tonight on the sofa here in Berlin during this Friday at 6 talk show is Samuli Siren. And actually, he's kind of like the older guys, I can say, from the scene, but has a lot of experience and recently founded yet another new company. It's called Redstone Digital Venture Capital. Please give it up for Samuli Siren.
Thank you very much. Second time in your show and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy that you're here. And maybe as you can see, we have a lot of audience here. You can use the hashtag F6show if you want to interact with us during the coming 40 minutes. So the first question, Philip, because it took us 2 years to finally meet again in this show. You left Seed Camp. There you were principal. And you couldn't become partner, or what was the reason that you left and went to AngelList?
That's a good question to start. I mainly decided that I wanted to do something that's even more international and has a bit of a footprint in the US as well. And at AngelList, I worked with Naval at AngelList for a few corporations. We knew each other, and then this opportunity just came up. I'm still very good friends with my old colleagues. Seed Camp is very active on AngelList, and yeah, so I think the accelerator game is very tough to play. And after 4 years running the program, running all the network, I was a little bit exhausted and ready for something new.
Yeah, because you saw all these companies, and then I would imagine, instead of becoming again employee, start something yourself as well.
Yeah, so I think, and you might agree or disagree, but the one question that you get as an investor from basically everyone is, you see all these awesome companies, don't you want to join one or don't you want to start your own? Fact is, you see all these awesome companies and you realize how hard it is to start a company. So kudos to all the entrepreneurs and founders out there. I mean, I will probably eventually start something. I just thought this was a really big opportunity, and I really want to help founders build better companies, and I think my skills are probably best applied to that problem.
Yeah. So Samuli, you've been playing this game for, you told me before the show, for over 20 years. What is Philip overlooking? Because you know he's already tired. He's so young. What is he? Does he overlook something?
No, he's not overlooking. He kind of figured out what is the coolest part in it, and being an investor is really the biggest fun. No, honestly, for me it was a process to get there. So it took me a long time. I a couple of startups myself, and I figured out in the process that I'm really good in that part. That's what I should do. I'm very bad in operations. I'm very bad of doing something for a long time and making that work. It's better to play with the money with someone and, you know, chip it in and hope the best.
And hope the best, yes.
Well, I don't have the money anymore, that's the thing. I'm now part of a startup, so we're a team of, I think, 23 now. So it is a big challenge for me to step back into a very operative role instead of actually the kind of the money deploying role that I played for a while.
Yeah, so what are big challenges then that are new for you now?
So I don't know, I think I'm one of 3 people who are terribly bad at coding, and the rest of the team are real rock stars. So one of our engineers is the co-founder of FeedBurner, so his other co-founder is De Costello, who runs Twitter. One of our designers designed Google Ads and AdWords. So there's some really high quality and really good operators, designers, and coders. So it's a real challenge to work with them when you come, as I said, from that other side.
Yeah, Eva, you sold your startup to 99 Designs. Would you, after this, start again your own company, or do you also think, this is quite relaxed now, I'm in a good position, enjoy Berlin, enjoy the weekends?
Yeah, I think it's definitely both of it. I think it's for us when we sold the company, we have been 7 people, and now we are 102. So I feel like I came to the next stage startup without having like the pain of growing everything. So it was like just play the next level, like in a big game. So this is great for us. So we're super international now. We have a big product team, so I can experience a lot of product ideas I always had in my mind. But on the other hand side, if you like once started your company, I talk to people who feel like, wow, this is cool, and I see some interesting stuff. So I feel like I'm a little bit tempted to do something on the side, but I think it's yeah.
But I mean, no pain, no gain. Maybe you sold too quickly?
Yeah, you never know. I think it would be pretty interesting if you could have parallel worlds, and then I would know. I think we sold in quite a good moment because 99 Designs was about to come into Europe. We have been the market leader in Europe, so it was a very good time to partner up, and we already feel like we liked each other, so I'm happy to have done it.
Yeah. Samuli, if you want to say something, because I saw you reach the microphone now. Okay, so 99 Designs, for the people who don't know this company, what do you offer?
We offer everything a startup needs design. Typically, we are known for doing the logo design for startups. I feel like this is why we grow so easily. It's word of mouth because startups are typically big talkers. And we pioneered the design contest, so everything from logo, web design, illustrations, T-shirts, everything graphical you want to have, you can get online, and this worldwide.
As I just told you, you made our logo. So I started our new font. We launched it 2 months ago, 2.5 ago. And the first thing I did was I published the competition in 99 Design, and I got a great logo there. So thank you so much.
Oh.
Well, there's some love in the air tonight, definitely.
And it was very, very cheap, by the way.
Of course, pre-produced, of course, as well, by our great editorial team. No, I'm joking. This is pure coincidence. But I mean, okay, so you crowdsource your design, Samuli, but I mean, there must be, what was the thought behind starting Redstone Digital? Because before you were at K New Media, right? So why did you change?
Well, K Media is a corporate venture fund. Behind that is a very big German retailer, mail order company. And during that time, I kind of figured out how problematic it is to run the VC activities within a corporation who has, in fact, a different focus. So they have to keep their core business up and running, where they're really good at. And I think they also made the best out of the VC activities, but they were not the way I wanted it to be, and for sure I have an entrepreneurial background myself, so I've been doing very, let's say, entrepreneurial way my business, and I struggled quite a bit on corporate structure itself.
So how can you do a corporate VC the right way, in your opinion?
You partner with Redstone Digital, and then you have the best way.
Okay, explain us.
What
we
do
are the
is
components?
We are in a typical venture structure. We are the management company. Usually have a one-to-one relation, so you have the fund, and you have a one management company for that. And in fact, what we do is that we have diverse funds or budgets, investors who are connected to us. They can be corporates, they can be existing funds, and we do the whole management. So we have a huge deal flow. We manage that, and we look in our investor group in existing funds, where is the fit from which fund this investment should be done, and we manage that. So what it means in the end for a corporation is that they have a very low hurdle to get into the business. They can do very small budget if they want to. At the same time, they have, I would say, top-notch access to the market itself, having a good, experienced people who've been doing digital a long time, and especially if you look in corporations who are really not digital, that's for them maybe a very attractive way to get into the part, into the business.
And what's the size of the fund now that you have?
That's non-disclosed.
Okay, and why is that?
Because of the partners want it to be so. That's very simple. They don't want us to communicate that.
And who are the partners again?
The two we have at the moment is the Klingons, so my former employee, which is a great story as such that I founded a new company and they were my first backup and my first investor. And the other one is Vogel Media, which is a big German publisher in the B2B area. And hopefully we'll launch or publish new partners very soon.
Yeah. And do you also think that AngelList is a competitor to you?
No. Especially in Europe, I don't see competitors in the venture capital scene. Just from the simple point of view that we have so few money available at the moment still. We don't have enough investors. We don't have that competition as there is in Valley. So at the moment, anybody who is getting active there and activating more money, it's just so welcome. And we cooperate with all the funds. I know everybody. And we really exchange thoughts and deals. And we try to get consortiums put together just to get the fundings done. Yeah. So I don't feel competition at all.
Yeah. So Philip, why should a company do it over AngelList instead of over Redstone Digital?
I think it really depends what the company wants. So I would agree that we don't see ourselves as a competitor to VCs as much as we're made to be. So for those of you who don't know what AngelList does, we're a platform for startups where startups can connect with investors, where investors can find investment opportunities. And we also launched some investment products where angel investors can pool other people's money, like in a fund, but not with a fund, and invest that money into startups at the early stage. Startups can hire on AngelList, startups can reach out to potential business partners, etc. So we give investors tools to do their job better. And we give founders transparency of the market because I think the VC market is a big fat black box and nobody really knows how it works, except the people who have the money because they do 10, 20 deals a year or in the lifetime of their fund, depending how active they are. So they know how to negotiate. They know, which terms are standard. They know how to maybe get the upper hand in a negotiation. So we try to break that open on AngelList a little bit. And I guess in the end, we maybe give funds or investors a little bit more competition between each other, but that can only be a good thing for founders.
So the funny thing is, Eva, actually, that you also kind of, as an entrepreneur, faced this problem, right? Also, this black box principle. You thought, okay, you said at least in one interview, "Oh, I'm so happy that I could sell, because otherwise I would have needed VC money, and I don't want to be in this whole game." So, is it true what Philip says, that it's like very intransparent from an entrepreneur's point of view?
Yeah, well, because I talk with a lot of others founders, and I feel like everybody is questioning how to approach this market. What's the right? There are just no rules, and everything is more like experience. And I think especially if you raise the first time money, it's pretty hard to figure out how to do it. And in this moment, you want to focus on your product, but you have to learn something totally new you never thought about learning before, maybe. And And I think it takes a lot of time until you get better to raise better, and then maybe your story is already burned because you started not the right way. When I said this, I felt like because I'm very product driven, and for me it's like it takes a lot of time when you're a founder to report to your investors, take the ideas from your investors. I think this is all time and energy you can't put into thinking of your product through and doing marketing.
Yeah. So I mean, Samuel, you meet Eva at a point where you think, we put some money in, you could be way bigger, and then we could sell for a much higher price. So how, in such a case, how would you convince her to take you on board? Because in the end, as a VC, you also have to pitch, right? It's I think most of the times the other way around. It's not the entrepreneur pitching the VC, of course happens also, but as a VC, sometimes you want to have this deal, right? So suppose you want to have this deal. How do you convince Eva?
First of all, it's a different way around usually in Europe, so usually the investors are really able to pick the ones they like because there is not enough money there. But in general, if we turn it upside down and we say that's the case, my takeaway is to say I have two things to offer. The one is I have money, so I can invest, I can help you and get you somewhere. Secondly, I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I've been doing it many times. I've been running my business myself. I've done many funding rounds and all those exit happenings and things. And usually the founders too feel that very early stage. So I'm trying to talk on their level. I'm not coming with the banker arguments. I'm trying to understand their business, try to understand the product. I try to figure out if the people are really keen on that product. And I think that is how I do my pitch, to get them convinced about me as a possible investor and especially as a possible partner for the future. Because that's what's happening. We're building a partnership from that point on.
So my assumption was wrong. I mean, it doesn't happen that you have to pitch a company.
No, I don't really have to pitch now.
Okay.
I think this is one thing that a lot of founders underestimate when it comes to fundraising. And when it comes to fundraising and exiting and just the general startup game, when it comes to venture capital and when it comes to equity investments, it's really important. It's really, really important that you get into the big and important deals. Everything else does not matter. That's the number one thing. And so investors in Europe are, as you say, I would agree, are in a pretty good situation where there's not enough capital. There are definitely a few top-tier firms who repeatedly see the deals that are taking off, see the deals that get traction in the market from a fundraising
What's the top three in your opinion?
I'm a little bit London-based, maybe because I lived there for a while, but I think Index is doing some incredible deals. Excel repeatedly gets into the top-tier deals. Balderton is picking up their pace. I think Sunstone up in Denmark is doing pretty well. Early Bird here in Berlin is doing an amazing job of doing something for the Berlin scene. And
that's not the same as being a top European VC firm, right?
They're in great deals, and they have, I think from the outside, they have changed the way they operate, and they've come a lot closer to the founders. I think this is a very hard thing for a fund to do, to turn around and really pass the baton to the next generation, and they're doing pretty well at it.
Yeah, sorry, but I interrupted you. You wanted to comment on what Samuli said.
So I think for those top-tier deals, you see the big billion-dollar funds competing for the next round, and this is especially true in Series A, Series B, Series C, where we now see a lot of UK VCs in Germany, but we also see US VCs. Why did Sequoia, why did Greylock, why did Highland do deals in Berlin? Because they also wake up to the fact that they're great entrepreneurs, they're really big businesses being built, and once they get that traction, people in Europe can't rely on the fact that there's not a lot of money around, because actually the big money will come here when there's a big opportunity.
So Eva, you had some time to think about the arguments of Samuli. Would he have convinced you at that point? It's not because of Samuli, but it's because of the arguments, of course.
I was when I was discussing with 99 Designs about the deal, I was also parallel thinking about taking VC money. So I've been considering different options, how to move on from a certain point, and I think in the end you have to take the whole market setup into place, and it's beside the financial stuff. So I feel like in theory sure you would have convinced me, but I think for our whole market setup and for me was selling to a competitor just the right way in this.
Okay, but I'm a little bit confused because you say, okay, now I'm sure you would have convinced me. You would just want to be nice, or what's the?
I just want to be nice.
Okay, so you wouldn't have convinced you because you thought for the company it was better to sell.
Yeah, well, because we was going forward in a situation of very high competition in our market, and I feel like with our market, with our model, how we approach a market. It's not that easy to grow the leading business out of the European markets, because in the end Europe is for our business a little bit more like long tail. We have like language versions, and we split our SEO and AdWord budget, and I think so it's just great to own the big English speaking market.
So, Samueli, from your point of view, being around here for a long time, has tech entrepreneurship changed, and in what way did it change?
Especially focusing on Berlin, and I stayed here, there is a huge change compared to the time in the 90s, whereas I started my first startup. There was basically nobody I could ask. There was no experience available, so there was no people I could go and say, how do you do this or how do you do that? So I think I did a hell of a lot of mistakes, quite a huge amount of them, just simply because I had to do the try and error all the way. And I wish that I would have had someone experienced who would have helped me that time. It was not there. So that is a big thing. The second thing, of course, through the years, what I've seen is how the scene has grown. We were a really small group of people that time who kind of believed this technology and internet and all that coming, and it happened that way. So now it has become really a booming industry, and we are taken seriously finally. That's what I'm very happy about to see, the politicians, everybody's talking about us, and we kind of becoming something which is creating jobs and wealthy, and we're doing hopefully even good things for people and good services, and that's a huge shift, yeah.
So sometimes I find it hard to believe that these politicians, not only that they understand what it is about, but also if it's like a long-term commitment. It's kind of the same with the bigger corporations, because it only has started now, and so of course now it's bon ton to say, hey, yeah, I'm into tech, but will this last also when, after years the returns are not that great and the politicians will be re-elected or not?
Yeah, it will stay, and it's here to stay. Of course, politicians have a different, let's say, approach to the things. They want to, get some visibility and trust and collect some votes. But the fact is that with that, they will have to do it in more and more in the future. And why is so? Because the whole industry is in the middle of the digital change. So if you, as a politician, are not into that, and you don't follow that, and you don't see that happening, you're out of the ball game. And the industry is just struggling with that topic, and they're going to do, and they have to do quite a lot. I mean, just giving the examples, everybody know the examples like Nokia being vanished from the market. And if somebody would have said 7 years ago that Nokia ain't going to be there anymore in 7 years' time, who would have believed that? So let's put a thesis there that Mercedes ain't going to be there in 10 years' time. Everybody, well, I don't know if I'm laughing or not. I mean, I think Tesla will make it. So let's see how Daimler as a company is able to do that move, and if they will. And all these theses are really relevant, so we have to, that's why the politicians really have to keep that topic on table and follow.
So Eva, what do you see now as like the most interesting trend for the future, for the coming years when it comes to tech entrepreneurship?
Well, what I see, when I started in 2008, it was like not really cool to have a startup. These days it's like the thing to do if you finish your university.
Why wasn't it cool?
I think it wasn't just there. When I said what I was going to do, they say, "Are you going to work with the developers?" It was like not whatever. But now I really see, when I finish my studies, people have been thinking about becoming investment bankers, consultants. Now the same people I meet, and they're 24, and the first thing they want to become is to become an entrepreneur. And many of them come to Berlin to cycle back to your question, what's changing. I think what's really changing in Berlin is just the amount of great, open-minded people coming to town, and they really want to start something.
Well, I mean, Berlin has always been this city where like open-minded people come, right? This not sun there, not suddenly there, or.
But today, instead of starting a rock band or an art studio, they start a startup. I think that is a big difference. And even 2008, 2007, at that time, we still had that big fight. Who's going to be, what's the city? And Hamburg was pretty big still in 2008, and Munich was really important. And even Cologne, where I was based for some time. Now it's very clear that Berlin, by far, is the most important city in Germany for tech entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spoil this wonderful party, but I mean, Berlin Partner asked me to make a couple of video portraits about like the big people in the Berlin scene. And I thought, okay, I go into the streets and I show these people the logos of these companies and I ask them, okay, what is this company? And I interviewed, totally not representative like in a scientific way, but maybe like 250 people or so. And I found maybe 15 people that actually knew the logos of SoundCloud, Sechs Wunderkinder, all these. I mean, so aren't we talking about something that we are actually believing in, but that is not actually there?
What are you looking for? I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody here is building a company because they want people on the streets to recognize their logo. They want to build a company because they want to change the way something works in an industry that they're familiar with and they fucking hate it. And they want to, build a great business where they can do what they want to do with their life. They can employ some people and give them jobs, and they want to build great products that millions of people use. I think that's more of a motivation for a founder. And if you think about it that way, I mean, SoundCloud is being used by hundreds of millions of people. Sechs Wunderkinder has millions of users, and a very long tail of other startups have the same thing. And they make money, they make revenues, they employ people, they. That's very real.
I mean, I sat in a car yesterday with some like big people from the old economy, and they asked me what is Sechs Wunderkinder. I said it's a to-do list, and they laughed for half an hour. They said, "Why is that even important?"
But for example, we had yesterday a big consulting firm visiting our office, and because they're interested, how does the startup scene work and what's the product for them? So I feel
but that's marketing, right? That's only marketing. That has no reflection at all at like the core of the business. I mean, Samuel told us at the beginning of the show, he founded this new company because they weren't feeling it inside of the company, at the heart of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What should I say? Yeah, they didn't, but that doesn't make it bad. It's the question is how do you do it? I mean, I think for this, where are we coming from? I mean, the change itself is an issue, and you have to figure out how it can happen. And they figured out it's not working in that corporation, in that field. And if there is someone who asking what is the to-do list, they might have been laughing about Facebook also a couple of years ago still. And I wonder if they still laugh. And that's the problem. And big corporations have an issue, for example, that they have a lot of people working for them, but these are not the people they can do the change with. They have to change the people to get the change in the business. And these are the topics, so that's just a great proof for it, that those guys ain't going to make the change if they're laughing about that instead of looking into it and understanding it.
Well, some of them downloaded the app. They tried it out at least, but they were still laughing afterwards. So they said, okay, I have to write down bread and butter there. Oh, okay, yes, I will buy bread and I will tick the box. Ha ha ha.
I think it's very easy to make fun of individual companies and products, but I mean, you take a look at any industry that has been disrupted or changed or whatever the word is that you want to use, and you put some record executives in the car and talk about SoundCloud or even YouTube. And I mean, who wants to see cat videos? Well, it turns out millions of people want to see cat videos. And, YouTube is a massive success, obviously not because of cat videos only. But, these things are changing, and usually these older, bigger companies do not see that stuff coming. And I mean, why were they sitting in a cab with you, to put the question back on you? Probably because they saw that something important is happening, and they need to find out what actually is this. I think it's great for the startup scene if they go back and say, they just make lists where you can, think about bread and butter.
No,
you're
totally right.
Because that means
they are interested.
Right?
They want to open an incubator now.
Great.
Yeah, that's what you do then, right? That's the next thing.
Yeah, but so I think this actually touches on a very important point on how corporates, and you talked about this before, and I was at a corporate VC before as well. I think it touches on the important point of how do corporates see innovation and new technology? How do they think about it? And usually
and the general public maybe. So
yes, probably as well. I think a lot of these corporate accelerators get started because someone at the top says we need to do something in digital, and it's a well thought out and a very good idea and a good argument behind it. And then they say, look, we can just buy some of these really successful companies that are in our space. So, we can, maybe their label and they're like, oh, we should buy SoundCloud. And then someone's like, wow, that's really expensive. Maybe we can do something smaller. And, we understand the industry. So we start a corporate VC firm and we invest in all the, in all the music startups. And then they say, well, that's still quite expensive. How can we get, the same outcome? And they start an accelerator program where they invest a couple $100K. Some people have a good feeling about doing something innovative and modern and startup-y, and the box is ticked. But obviously that doesn't have an impact on the large-scale direction of the company. So I think the biggest problem that these larger, older companies usually have is not understanding the size of the shift they need to have in their organization in order to stay successful.
Well, very few of them do. So it's important maybe to say that some corporates are really good in doing that. So Axel Springer is a great example in Berlin, really shifting and really accepting the big change in the organization, investing a hell of a lot of money and giving out their existing business. But there are not too many examples who are really making that radical moves. And if you look at it, there's really top-notch management who are committed to do that, whatever it costs. And that's the only way to really save and get through that. We see Zalando attacking all these existing mail order companies like Otto and Klingel and all of them. And it's interesting to see how the story ends and where it's going. Otto is doing it really good, in fact, in the end. Klingel has a different story. They have their own market share and their own segment. But all in all these kind of areas are experiencing a change. And let's see what will happen with the banks. With the bank and the financial tech area, and I'm just dropping kind of an idea that for normal stuff, what do we need a bank account for? In the end, really, do we need a bank account from a bank? And that's pretty fair question, because what are they doing with that? They have it on their computers, and that's it.
Let's talk about startups, as you said. What interesting startups do you see nowadays?
Wow. I see, thankfully, I see hundreds of interesting startups each day because they're all on AngelList. But I think some trend, like a really big trend at the moment is obviously, what you already alluded to, financial services being disrupted. I think it's just at that point where, everybody does have a phone in their pocket that usually has internet and a connection. So, you can do new things that we all understood maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, but the general public and the mainstream is now catching up to, hey, why can't I pay for this with my phone? Mm-hmm. Why can't I order, call, whatever, anything from my phone? Why can't I control my bank account? Why can't I control, my home from my phone, because I should be able to do it. I can do it from my computer. And I think that just still opens a lot of interesting opportunities. So,
which names can you mention in Europe? Let's for now say Europe, okay, that are working on that.
One of my favorite companies is Transferwise. They let you transfer money cheaper and faster between different currencies.
That's a kind of an old love, right? They're from 2009,
yeah,
I believe.
I still think
Seed Camp.
Yep, they are. I still think it's an amazing company, and they're just now hitting the stride of what's happening, like getting attention from the mainstream. That's the thing about startups; they actually take a long time. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to say, well, here's an interesting gimmick that happens early on. But I think when you get to that stage, it's Series A, Series B, then you see a lot of people doing it, and then you see what actually the interesting effects of that are. So SoundCloud having changed, really having changed how artists release new music, how artists engage with their community. I think we can see that today, and we can actually say, wow, this is an innovation that came from Berlin and that actually changed an entire industry.
So same question for you, Eva.
Yeah, what I see is that even more traditional industries like whatever energy, power stuff, all the renewable energy, the biggest innovation is coming from software there and connecting to the internet. And I think this is now that we see in a lot of new stuff. It's even like what the Tesla guys are doing. I think it's pretty software driven, and I would have never imagined like that somebody's reinventing just a car manufacturer. And it's the only car which is cool in Silicon Valley, I think. So.
Yeah. So can we already hear what Redstone Digital? I mean, do you limit yourself to certain branches, areas, or is it wide open?
We don't, but our partners do, so that's driving our investment decisions quite a bit. At the moment, very open. I'm not disclosing now which are the ones we're investing or about to. But as you're asking about the trends, I could drop something which kind of really took off last year is the whole Bitcoin discussion. It's very interesting because I was in New York in TechCrunch Disrupt about a year ago, and everybody was talking about Bitcoin, that becoming a big thing. Well, it did last year, and we had all that struggle, but the general idea in that is extremely disrupting, and that's very interesting. And I believe in a virtual currency in general. If it's Bitcoin or some of the clones doing it one day, but that's one of those huge trends I'm really looking into. I was really happy. I also, after the TechCrunch last year, I bought a couple of Bitcoins and I had a really good development after that with those little coins I own. But in general,
and you still have them. They're still in your wallet, because that seems also to be a problem.
I still have it in my wallet. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that wallet and when it vanishes. But yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, the trend of virtual currency is a trend where you think, okay, that will not stop, and that will definitely going to disrupt financial industry.
That will be there for sure. I don't know if it's Bitcoin itself. It could be that Bitcoin will fall apart, and we learn a lot about that, and another virtual currency will make it. But yeah, for sure, because the advantages are so huge. It's just, I mean, of course, there are a lot of regulating issues and security issues and securing your money. That is one of the biggest concern of the people, that they have money on my bank account and then I lose it. So that's why it's getting all that press. But that's try and error process ongoing, but yeah, virtual currency will be the thing.
Yeah. Okay. So it's almost time for the guests to be able to come up here and announce their own event, or to share your thought about the show. But I have one last question. There's a question. Okay, we have to use this. Okay, somebody asked. Okay, maybe a stupid question, but what is detox? Okay, that's kind of a weird question. Another it's about a music app. Okay. Another question. What about the tech gap increasing ever more? Lots of Berlin shops don't even accept PIN payment. So that's a bit like the discussion about, is it really touching society as a whole?
I think that's a big problem, and shops in Berlin should all accept credit and debit cards. It's a pain in the butt to pay for anything here, which I discovered moving back here, and I don't know how that will change. What is very interesting is how, especially in Germany, some technological changes are being viewed very skeptically, and I think it's very important to understand why. I don't necessarily understand why, but in this particular case.
But I mean, we have like Paymail, we have Pay11, we have SumUp, we had already iZettle, and they're pumping millions, tens of millions into this market, maybe for like a need that doesn't even exist.
This is it's an incredibly challenging business, and I think what it points to is actually how much more important the execution of an idea is rather than the idea. So, when all the names that you just said came out, and when they all, everybody is a competitor of something or a copycat of something, that's actually a discussion that isn't very helpful, because the question is who can actually make this work. Now they raised, another 50 million in the case of iZettle. And it just shows you how difficult it is to roll this out across, even smaller countries like in the Nordics.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, guys. There are a couple of people who already announced before the show that they want to come up. So, okay, David, come on, please. Because after this show, for the exclusive part, invite only, there's networking from 8 o'clock on the rooftop terrace, the people with the bracelets. But afterwards, for everybody, in the cafe on the Friedrichstrasse, there is
the closing party to Berlin Web Week, which is the Silicon LA party. And if any of you have ever been to a Silicon LA party, it's going to be a good night, right? It's at Rocco and Sani, which is at Friedrichstrasse 113. It's right near Oranienburger Tor U-Bahn. From 9 o'clock, free to get in. The first 100 people through the door get themselves a free beverage. It's supported by the OneSpark crowdfunding event, which will be here in September. Very much looking forward to it. And I'm very much looking forward. It will be my 12th event that I've been to this Berlin Web Week, and my last. And I'm quite looking forward to it. So you're all welcome. Please come along. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much, Dirk, and appreciate your show tonight.
Thanks so much, David. Give it up for David Knight, the editor-in-chief of Silicon LA.
Hi, I have two announcements. Following on from the investment discussions we've been having, I've got Capital on Stage happening on the 27th of May. So if you don't know Capital on Stage, we put the investors on the spotlight and they pitch to the founders. Now it is an invite-only event, so founders that do want to actually apply need to register and apply. And you can do that on the website, which is www.capitalonstage.com. So I look forward to seeing some of those founders actually apply. And a second event I have going at the moment is Tech All-Stars. It's the European Commission-led competition where we take the top 12 founders to London and do a pitch competition, and then the top 3 will get to go to Founders Forum. So very exciting. So I hope that we'll see a lot of applications as well from the Berlin founders applying for that competition. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. You go.
My name is Garen Goodman. I'm from Telefonica accelerator called Wyra. We're seeking founders, entrepreneurs who want to be accelerated. So if you're in the crowd now, if you want to be accelerated, grab me or one of my colleagues straight after this announcement. It's nice to see you all. I've been here all week. It's another side of Berlin I've discovered, and it's been exhausting. Thanks.
Yeah, and I apologize for connecting O2 to Wire, or can I also say O2? Yeah, O2 and Telefonica, you can mention the both. Okay, very happy. Okay, looking into the audience. Okay, I mean, this is very smart. I had people from Wundercar offer you all a first ride for free. So if you're here, go to the people from Wundercar, and wherever you want to go, within a limit, of course they're standing outside, but within a certain limit, don't drive to Paris or whatever. I mean, just stay here for now, but this first ride after the show is for free with Wundercar. So that's the announcement that I was told to make, so hereby. Somebody else? Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the Friday at 6 show. I want to thank again my guests, and I hope that they will get like a huge applause because they did an amazing job. Thank you, Samli, thank you, Eva, and thank you, Philip.